Доброго ранку.
Good morning, dear colleagues. We are starting, and I give the floor to the spokesperson of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, Colonel Victoria Kushnir, and then we'll have on Skype the spokesperson for the anti-terrorist operation headquarters, Leonid Matyukhin. Good morning, dear all. I'm glad to see you. The Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Colonel General Stepan Poltorak, paid a visit to Lithuanian Republic. The head of the Ukrainian Defense Ministry had taken part in the joint working sitting of the Ministers of Defense of Baltic states, and in the day of highly esteemed guests within the Flaming Sword 2015 training. Today, the Minister of Defense of Ukraine will meet the delegation of the group of Friendship France-Ukraine of the Senate of the French Republic. They plan to discuss the current military and political situation in Ukraine and possibilities for the support of our state by the partner country. Also today, the Deputy Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Yuri Gusev, will meet the delegation of the students of the Royal College of Defense Sciences of the Academy of Defense of the United Kingdom. This week, within the framework of the visit of the Canadian delegation headed by the Prime Minister Stephen Harper, the Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Stepan Poltorak, will meet the Minister of National Defense of Canada, Jason McKenney. Besides, this week, Ukraine will be visited by the experts of the NATO alliance, representatives of the consortium of defense academies and research institutions on the issues of security of the Partnership for Peace NATO program, and the group of instructors of the Armed Forces of Denmark to take part in the course of headquarters staff officers of military police. The President of Ukraine, the Superior Commander of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, has signed the decree on the awards to the group of Ukrainian military for personal courage and high professionalism displayed during the defense of the state sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine. 20 military servicemen of the Armed Forces of Ukraine were given state awards. They all are participants in the anti-terrorist operation. As of today, 199 military from the Armed Forces of Ukraine and 8 military from other military formations who were wounded during the anti-terrorist operation are undergoing treatment and are under monitoring in the public health institutions of the Ministry of Defense. 40 military servicemen continue to be treated abroad. 131 participants of the anti-terrorist operation are undergoing rehabilitation in sanatoria. As of the start of the anti-terrorist operation, 4,788 military from the Armed Forces of Ukraine have undergone treatment in military medical institutions of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. The repair units of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and enterprises of the defense and industrial complex continue to repair and modernize armaments and military vehicles for the Armed Forces of Ukraine. For over the last week, they have returned to fulfill combat tasks 272 units and vehicles, 10 tanks T-64, 3 tanks T-64BM Bulat, 4 cannons Yeltsin B, 1 self-propelled howitzer Kasia, and 2 self-propelled howitzers Gvozdika, Carnation, 3 multiple rocket launchers Grad, 10 anti-tank cannons MT-12 Rapira, a combat vehicle of the air defense complex Strela 10M, the anti-tank combat vehicle Konkurs, 15 infantry combat vehicles BMP-1 and 13 BMP-2, 2 combat reconnaissance vehicles, 2 APCs BTR-70 and 3 BTR-80, 6 reconnaissance and patrol vehicles and other. Besides, 173 vehicles and lorries were returned to the armed forces, including 44 Urals, 34 Zils, and so on. The repair brigades are teams of state enterprises over the last week have restored 2 combat vehicles of the air defense launching complex Strela 10. So, starting from the beginning of the anti-terrorist operation, 24,191 units of armaments and vehicles were restored and repaired for the armed forces of Ukraine. And the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine continues to provide the military with things they need. Over the last week, the contracts were signed to buy the summer fatigues for the sum of 151 million hryvnia, camouflaged caps for hats for 870,000 hryvnia, summer socks for almost 15 million hryvnia, and other stuff. Besides, the tender committee of the Ministry of Defense have decided to pass resolutions to buy concrete shelters for personnel to the tune of 18,605,000 hryvnia, and also 5 million hryvnia worth of equipment for tanks and so on. In 2015, the military representatives have monitored and controlled the quality of production and have committed for the Ministry of Defense the production of defense assignation for the sum of almost 1.5 billion hryvnia, and also for other armed structures for the same sum. Besides, from the beginning of 2015, as a result of the calculation materials, the military representations of the Ministry of Defense have avoided overspending for the sum of almost 160 million hryvnia. And now I pass the floor to the officer of the press center of the headquarters of anti-terrorist operation, Captain Second Rank Leonid Matyukhin. So what has happened in the anti-terrorist operation zone? From 6 p.m. on the 1st of June until the morning, the criminals have continued to shell the positions of the Ukrainian military in all directions. In Donetsk sector, they were shelling our positions from mortars and artillery of caliber more than 100 millimeter. They also shelled Piski, Butovka mine, Marinko, Pitne, and Vodene. In Artemivsk sector, the artillery of the gunmen shelled Markovo, and the mortars shelled Novgorodske, and they also fired from high-caliber submachine guns, machine guns on Leninska, and from grenade launchers and small firearms Kirova. There was a combat clash with a subversive and reconnaissance group of the enemy next to Vesela Donlina. In Mariupol sector, they shelled our positions in Shirokine from mortars and artillery banned by the Minsk agreements. Almost calm it was in Luhansk sector, where they have twice broken silence, shelling from small firearms Shasta and Zolotay 4, and 15 flights of enemy drones were detected in Luhansk and Mariupol sector. Thank you very much. No questions, and I remind you that our next briefing is at 11.